A very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. It is start of a brand new week. It is Monday morning and lots making news. Let us start the news bulletin with the headlines. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate a Western Peripheral Expressway in Gurugram. Much delayed expressway to provide high-speed link between northern Haryana and southern districts and for traffic from Haryana to neighbouring states. Prime Minister to also flag off new section of Delhi Metro's Violet Line. Three killed, 20 injured in a grenade attack at a prayer hall in Amritsar, Rajansansi village. Police looking at a terror angle. Attack amid a high alert on the presence of JEM terrorists in Punjab. As the campaigning for the second and final phase of assembly polls in Chhattisgarh concluded on Sunday, preparation for voting on 20th of November in 72 constituencies begin. BJP releases 6th list and Congress releases the last list of candidates for Telangana polls. Crucial board meeting of Reserve Bank of India today. Several issues including excess reserves in the bank and MSME credit to be discussed. And 4 Indian boxers, including Mary Kom, advanced to the quarterfinals of the Women's World Boxing Championships. Mary Kom, chasing a historic 6th goal, registers a convincing 5-0 win in the pre-quarters. Sarita Devi bows out in controversial circumstances. The top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the most awaited Western Peripheral Expressway in Gurugram today. The Delhi Western Peripheral Expressway project was proposed way back in 2003 with an initial cost of 1,915 crore rupees. A sum of 6,400 crore rupees has been spent on the expressway project and 3,846 acres of land was acquired for the project. The objective of this expressway is to provide high-speed link between northern Haryana and southern districts and also provide uninterrupted high-speed link for traffic, especially commercial traffic from Haryana to the neighbouring states. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also inaugurate the 3.2-kilometre long Escorts Mujessar corridor of the Delhi Metro today. It will become the 3.2-kilometre long corridor will also be known as the Violet Line and will be open for the passenger operations after the inauguration. And President Ramnath Kovind reached Da Nang in Vietnam on the first leg of his two-nation visit. President Kovind interacted with the leaders of Da Nang People's Committee led by Party Secretary of Da Nang. The President said that India and Vietnam share close and cordial relations and he looks forward to strengthening bilateral ties between the two nations. Remember, the President's visit is part of India's continuing and growing engagement with the countries in the Indo-Pacific region. The President's two-nation visit is to strengthen ties with the Indo-Pacific nations, and this is President Kovind's first visit to an ASEAN country. President Kovind's second leg of the visit will be in Australia from 21st to 24th of November. And now let's get you all the news and updates from election-bound states. In Chhattisgarh, campaigning for the second and final phase of assembly elections came to an end on Sunday evening. Polling in 72 constituencies spread across 19 districts will be held on Tuesday in this phase. On the last day of electioneering, senior leaders of the BJP, Congress and other political parties held public meetings at various places to canvass support for their respective candidates. Now the parties and candidates can take up door-to-door campaigning before polling. Meanwhile, 3 jawans of the District Reserve Guard of police were injured, one of them seriously, in a blast carried out by Maoists in Sukma district on Sunday. The incident took place between Bheji and Elar Madgur village when a team of security personnel were conducting a search operation. Reinforcements were rushed to the spot and the injured jawans were taken to a hospital. Polling for the assembly election took place in Sukma and 7 other Maoist-affected districts on 12th of November, and the second and final phase of the Chhattisgarh polls is scheduled to be held on 20th of November, and the results will be announced on 11th of December. 1,079 candidates are in the fray in this phase. Chhattisgarh has 90 assembly segments. And the Bharatiya Janata Party on Sunday released its 6th list of 6 candidates for the assembly elections in Telangana on 7th of December. The list released by the BJP Central Election Committee included the names of Raghunath Rao, S. Gopi among others. Meanwhile, the Congress party also released its last list of 6 candidates for the Telangana Assembly election on Sunday. The party is sharing some seats with the TDP and some other like-minded parties. The Congress party has so far released a list for 94 candidates for the state, which goes to polls on 7th of December. The party had initially released a list of 65 candidates, followed by 10 and then 13 candidates in other lists. News from poll-bound Rajasthan. Now, the Congress party released the list of its remaining candidates for the Rajasthan Assembly election on Sunday, declaring 11 new names and replacing 3 previously declared nominees. It has left 5 seats for its allies, and with this, the Congress and its allies have announced a party-wise distribution on 199 seats out of the total 200 in the state for the 7th of December election. The Congress had declared 152 candidates in the first list and 32 in the second list. And the BJP released its 4th list of 24 candidates for the Rajasthan Assembly. The names were announced by Union Minister and Party Leader J.P. Nadda following a meeting of the BJP Central Election Committee. The candidates from Didwana and Kekri are, however, yet to be named. News from Mizoram now. The 2018 assembly elections will decide whether the state follows its tradition of a changing guard every 10 years or to create a new culture by giving the Congress a 3rd term. While there is a direct fight between the Congress and the Mizo National Front, the emergence of the BJP and some other small groups may play a crucial role. So the Congress fights anti-incumbency and all eyes are on the opposition, the Mizo National Front. Akhilesh Suman brings us this report.
Mizoram, a peaceful state in the country's northeast, has 40 seats in its state assembly. The ruling Congress had 134 seats in the 2013 polls, with 5 going to the Mizo National Front. The Congress is confident of winning a 3rd time under Chief Minister Lal Tanaula, breaking a political tradition. Since the first assembly was elected in 1989, the state has seen the Congress and the MNF serving 2 consecutive terms alternately.
We have done a lot of infrastructure for our states. So that will be our winning chance. Out of 40, we hope we are getting around 38 seats.
The Mizo National Front, however, believes the people of the state will follow political tradition and vote them to power. It has nominated candidates for all 40 seats in the state.
And there are a lot of anti-incumbencies are there also. So in this connection, we hope that we will definitely win in the coming of this election. We are fighting by our own party. We don't have any alliance with other parties.
BJP too has put up candidates on all 40 seats and hopes to be kingmaker once the poll results are announced. It is banking on non-Christian votes who significantly influence at least 12 seats. Buddhists, Chakma and Bru may galvanize the fortunes of the BJP in the state.
Basically, we expect that most people, like the poorer sector, who needs development, who are eyeing for development to the states and who don't get development so far, will surely come to BJP. We don't have any alliance so far, but post-alliances, nobody can say.
There is also a conglomeration of smaller parties that is challenging both the Congress and the MNF. The combine is called the Mizoram People's Movement and is a combine of 6 parties: the Mizoram People's Conference, Zoram Nationalist Party, Mizoram People's Party, Zoram Exodus Movement, Zoram Reformation Front and the Zoram Democratic Front.
The people of Mizoram are getting tired of these two parties, MNF and Congress, because their work during their time is not that much. Corruption is rampant, development they are weak, and in administration is also very weak.
The fate of 201 candidates will be sealed on November 28th. There is a large number of first-time voters in the state this time. Their opinion and pattern of voting would be crucial for all parties.
There will be 6-corner fight in the state and fragmentation of votes will be immense. The state is important for the Congress so that it can retain it, and for BJP it is important because BJP claims to be one of the major players in Northeast. It will be interesting to see that how people come and vote so that the aspirations of the people are fulfilled. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sudhanshu in Aizawl.
On to the other top story this Monday morning. The RBI board meeting takes place today and government has sought a discussion on governance in the Reserve Bank of India and an appropriate economic capital framework during the central bank's board meeting scheduled for today. Reports say that both the sides have covered considerable ground in addressing 2 issues, that is ensuring relief and more credit to small and medium firms and easing restrictions on state-owned banks to boost lending. Governance in the central bank is part of the meeting's agenda, and the government is also looking for a consultative process in decision-making to align the overall economic policy framework. Another contentious issue is the capital requirement of banks, with the government and its nominees pitching for aligning it with the international-based requirement of 8%. The RBI has insisted on 9%. In Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break here. We'll be right back with more news.
Hello and welcome. I am Chakshu Roy and you're watching Laws in the Making on Rajya Sabha TV.
When a person is rescued from a situation of human trafficking, they need immediate care.
These women who come into sex work are deceived into it. That's the underlying assumption.
You cannot consider a person to be a commodity, and that kind of approach is unacceptable in civilized society.
This national nodal agency will oversee all the investigations in cross-border and interstate cases which have big ramifications.
Watch Laws in the Making on Rajya Sabha Television.
Delhi for centuries has nurtured many kingdoms and rulers. These kingdoms have left us several significant monuments with an incredible history to tell. Among these monuments is one which is in the midst of posh bungalows in Hauz Khas area, the Chor Minar. Built under the rule of Alauddin Khilji, telling a statement of his rule, is believed to have stood out as a deterrent for thieves and thugs who attempted to venture in his kingdom. Built in 13th century, the pillar is made of rubble masonry and stands at the center of a platform. Each of the four sides of the platform has three arched recesses with a doorway on one side leading to a spiral staircase. The pillar, also believed to be known as the Tower of Thieves, was used to display the severed heads of the thieves and thugs through its 225 holes.
Welcome back after the break. A big story coming in from Punjab where at least 3 people were killed and 20 others were injured in a grenade attack in Nirankari Bhavan in Rajya Sansi village on Sunday. The blast targeted a religious congregation of the Nirankari, a spiritual organization in Adliwal village of Amritsar. Eyewitnesses said that two young men arrived on a motorcycle and threw a bomb inside the Nirankari Bhavan complex where a large gathering of people was attending a satsang. The Nirankari sect has regular Sunday meetings. The injured have been admitted to various hospitals of Amritsar. And Punjab police have suspected terror angle behind the blast. The police is watchful and vigilant after receiving inputs that Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists who entered through Firozpur might be hiding in the state and will try to move to Delhi. Meanwhile, Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh has condemned the attack on Nirankari Bhavan. He has also announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees each to the kin of the dead and directed the district administration to provide the best possible medical care to the injured. The Chief Minister reviewed the law and order situation in the state and directed the Home Secretary, the DGP and DG Intelligence to rush to the village for supervising investigations. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that innovation is for the betterment of mankind and India is encouraging the spirit of innovation among the educated, enterprising youth. He was addressing a gathering after inaugurating the international conference Asian Patent Attorneys Association on Sunday. The Vice President also stressed on the need to put in efforts to give meaningful effect to the socio-economic and technological development needs of the poorest of the poor. He further said that knowledge and intellect are the most critical ingredients in development. The Vice President said that India is encouraging the spirit of innovation among the educated, enterprising youth by skilling them and supporting them through schemes like Startup India and Mudra.
Such as auto industry, information technology, aviation, biotechnology, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, electronics and entertainment for innovation and manufacturing. There is immense scope of technology and investment in these areas. For example, with the 900 million mobile telephony subscribers and almost 500 million internet users, Indian market is expected to grow to $400 million US market by 2020. There are around 100 plus mobile and accessories manufacturing units in the country. The policies to digitize the economy had led to 300% increase in digital transaction over the past few years.
Programs like Digital India, Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, Smart Cities are all technology-based programs designed to transform India. Because India of today, led by the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, recognizes too well that the key to future knowledge economy is technology and intellectual property.
The top international focus, US President Donald Trump has called a CIA assessment blaming Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi very premature and said that he will receive a complete report on the case on Tuesday. Donald Trump, on a trip to California, said that the killing should never have happened. He added that the report on Tuesday will explain who the US government believes killed Khashoggi and what the overall impact of his murder is. Donald Trump also said that the CIA finding that bin Salman was responsible for the killing was possible. Donald Trump made the remarks hours after the State Department said that the government was still working on determining responsibility for the death of Khashoggi, a US-based Washington Post journalist. The CIA's finding is the most definitive US assessment to date, lying Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler directly to the killing, and it contradicts Saudi government assertions that Prince Mohammed was not involved. Khashoggi, a critic of the Crown Prince, was killed in October at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul when he went there to pick up documents for his planned marriage.
Our CIA director, who's terrific and very knowledgeable and been studying this very closely, and it's a horrible thing that took place, the killing of a journalist, a very, very bad situation, Khashoggi, and somebody who's respected. It should never have happened, and we'll be having a very full report over the next 2 days.
And on to sports, 4 Indian boxers, including five-time world champion MC Mary Kom, advanced to the quarterfinals of the Women's World Boxing Championships in New Delhi yesterday. Mary Kom, who is chasing a historic 6th gold and the first medal since 2010, defeated Kasernayeva of Kazakhstan to reach the quarterfinals of the 48 kg category. The 35-year-old who got a first-round bye won the pre-quarter-final match, beating her Kazakh opponent by a unanimous 5-0 decision. Also, boxer Manisha Mom, Lovlina Bogohain and Bhagyabati Kachar also advanced to the quarterfinals in their respective weight categories. Meanwhile, El Sarita Devi lost to her island opponent Anne Harlington in the lightweight 60 kg category by a split 2-3 decision. And finally, the nation is paying a tribute to its first woman Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on her 101st birthday. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi paid tributes to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at Shakti Sthal. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tributes to Indira Gandhi. The Vice President remembered her vision and administrative skills. And that's it in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching.